Coach, you guys used a lot of guys in a number of different spots defensively, especially up front the other night. When you go back and look, you think of after a game, you know how you played, and you go back and look at the video. Was there anything different that you saw with the depth and how you use guys?
Not really. I thought we held up with the 10 guys that we played pretty well. I probably would change the snap count a little bit. Jermaine got more snaps. We'd probably give a few more to Jeff Clark. I thought he played well. I think he only had 13, so probably that distribution a little bit. A guy like Jermaine has played a lot of football. Hasn't been out there much in recent years. I think it was just a hurdle for him to get through an entire game, so that was a positive. He was certainly rusty. I think he'll just get better and better as we go, and certainly his stamina. But probably that distribution between Jermaine and Jared Dawson. Jared was winded as well. He got 23 snaps, I think. But spacing that out between those guys would probably be my one thing. We got Salai in late to have some fresh legs to push the pocket at the end of the game. But probably not. I'd actually like to, play 12 if I could. But the game just didn't dictate that. We obviously had a very poor second quarter and got back on our heels a bunch. And once you get in the second half, if you really haven't played somebody, it's hard to get them in a tight game. Obviously, I got Salai at the end. I just thought he could give us a little bit more activity at the nose.
Great.
Yeah, you guys played very well in the first, third, and fourth quarters. What, in your view, what happened in the second quarter, and what did you change in the second half?
I think that's a great question. I think it started with a couple big plays. They got us on the perimeter a couple times. I just think Fitz on the perimeter, and after those big plays, they hit us with some big runs. So it's getting lined up. We've certainly got to do a better job as a staff of getting calls in so our guys can get their cleats in the ground, especially when people are picking up the tempo a little bit after a big play. But it was a combination of some fits. The tight end for the tailback flare early. Then they had a kind of a tunnel screen. We got hit on a pass where our blitzer came out of the blitz and they hit us on one down the middle. It's just a combination of all those things. We got to do a better job as a staff to get calls in quicker, to allow our guys to get set up. We've got to fit things better. We've addressed those things as a staff of where we misfit. We went through all the corrections as a staff numerous times. We went through them with the players yesterday, so I think we should be cleaner moving forward. And then I think at the half, it's football is very much a chess match, and so we looked at our fronts where we got hurt a little bit. I know inside with our D-line, I thought we got sideways versus the run game. They were hitting us on some stretch plays where that back was just kind of back there, and they got us really spread out. We weren't getting enough vertical push at the point of attack, which was just now on the backside, was just creating huge seams. And so I think the combination of not getting that push up front, we were a little slow to fit things on the back end, and that allowed some creases and allowed some big runs. So we've addressed those things. But I think at halftime is really a credit to Ron and the rest of our staff of figuring out some things that maybe they didn't like, and we went to a little bit more of an odd front. They didn't like it. And as we told our guys, listen, we just got to get back to winning early downs, because when we did that in the first quarter, we got them behind the chains. We were able to dictate the tempo, and we got off the field. We hit the quarterback. We caused the one turnover in the first series. So it was getting back to getting into some fronts that they didn't like, and they certainly didn't like it. We really dictated, I think, the tempo in the third. And as it went into the fourth, we were able to come back and get the lead and start playing with more confidence. So it was just a combination of all those things, really.
Mark, you were talking about Jermaine, and he has played a lot of football, but he's had a lot of tough luck. How big is it to get him through a game? What did you kind of talk to him about afterwards? And I guess when you look at the film, how did he do?
Did well. He did well. I didn't think he really had any impact plays, to speak, but I don't know if he really had a lot of opportunities to do that. But I think just getting through a game. Listen, I'm gonna communicate with a guy like that that's played a lot of football. You need to tell me, and I was asking him as the game went on, how do you feel? And he, responded very positively. He felt good. He wanted to be in there. He didn't want to come out, and so that was good. I think he realizes that he was rusty, but I'm confident. I think he's confident that moving forward, we're gonna practice him the right way during the week, making sure that we try to get him to Saturday. So if he does get a little nicked up, again, we're just going to try to stay ahead of the curve with him physically, so we can get him to Saturday. But I would look at this this past game last Friday night as a huge step in the right direction with him.
Mark, both you and Jeff mentioned that there were times in the game where the coaching staff kind of had trouble getting the call in, and it came late and kind of caused a little bit of confusion. Do you think that was maybe due to the fact that it was just the first game and with some new pieces on the staff and a new location? Or why do you think that was, that there was some confusion there?
Yeah, I think Ron's like, look, it's on me first and foremost, and I would agree. It's on our coaches first and foremost, but also having been out there before in those situations, our guys got to do a good job of looking to the sideline and again, knowing we've got multiple signalers out there because you've got the opponent trying to steal signals too. So it's being having everybody on the same page. Who's the live signaler? And then again, in a tempo situation, we realize you can't take a whole lot of time. We've got tempo calls that we need to go to. So I think it's a combination of all those things. It's when they hit a big play, knowing that they are going to speed things up. Hey, listen, this may not be the very best call, but let's give them one of our tempo calls to allow them to get lined up quickly, get their cleats in the ground, and be able to, not just survive the next play, but win the next play and hopefully settle things down and kind of get them out of that tempo mode. But it starts with us certainly as coaches. We've addressed that. We're going to hit some, we always do tempo periods during practice, but we're even going to take, took a 5-minute period yesterday just to address, just the logistics of getting calls out quickly, everybody being on the same page. And we made it tough on our guys. We just signaled at one time to force them, to get their eyes over to us, lock in on the live signaler, and make the call. So we're just going to continue to emphasize those things. But certainly from the top down to the field, from Ron to getting it communicated, we've just got to be cleaner.
Mark, the loss of Ben Perry, how impactful was that for the defense? And secondly, as you look back on the play where he got ejected for that, is there anything you can teach, or did it look like a good football play to you?
It's a tough play. I know we're in the day and age of protecting certainly the quarterback. I asked myself, what would I do in that situation as again, I don't know if I'd be able to play in today's day and age where sideline to sideline. I was more of an in-the-box guy, but that's tough, right? When that guy's running and at the very last second, kind of goes down, you obviously want to stay away from his head, and you certainly don't want to lead with the crown. All those things come into play. I mean, it's such a bam. It's tough. I thought it was a rough call. I think that's where now you've got to have two levels of the targeting. To lose a guy like that on just there was nothing malicious there, in my opinion. And into losing for the rest of the game, that certainly was a blow to our defense and a blow to Ben. So. I don't know what you do different. That's a great question because you got to be able to go up and make a football play, right? I mean, if not, that guy's going to be able to run for another 5 to 10 yards. So you just got to continue to emphasize to not lead with your head. But I thought he decided to go down real late, and that was just a tough situation.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah.
Given the struggles y'all had defensively in the second half, how much of that would you put on yourself? And in those moments, what do you tell your guys to help them turn around mentally?
Second half or second quarter?
Well, second quarter. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I thought the second half we kind of.
My bad.
No, I think the biggest thing that we've emphasized with our guys, and again, it starts with Ron, is listen, you're going to have bad plays in the game, but you can't let them spiral. Meaning, you can't let one lead to another. And I think that's kind of what happened. I think a couple big plays became kind of an avalanche, right? And so we got to be better there. We've got to be able to get our guys on the sideline, and if bad things are happening, we got to be able to snap out of it and try to put a plug on it. But it just seemed like it was different things. It started with the flare to the tailback early in the second quarter that got out. They ended up scoring. Then it was, like I said, we had a zone pressure on. We came out of the blitz where we would have hit the quarterback, but they hit one down the middle. a couple of the big runs not getting lined up. So it's multiple things. I think we can be cleaner, again, from the top down as coaches, getting calls out to our guys to be able to get them lined up quicker, be able to get our cleats in the ground. And then part of it's making adjustments on the sideline too. That was one of the frustrating things is we knew how they were going to try to out-leverage us a little bit on the perimeter, and we misfit some things. So it's just understanding how we got to fit those, whether it's a flare to the running back, to the wide side of the field, or a tunnel screen. We never felt like it was an effort issue. It was just kind of a misfit. So, but the one thing I will say, not one time, being on the sideline with our guys, not one time did our guys waver. I've been on sidelines before we start pointing fingers, hey, we're not scoring enough, or you start pointing fingers and blaming other people. Not once did that happen. I know with my group especially, I thought Stephen Hagen was awesome on the sideline. There's a guy who's played a ton of football. He's been in some games, obviously, while he was at Stanford, where, you just got to keep it together. And then I thought at halftime, from Coach Brom down to Ron to the rest of our staff, I felt like our guys were locked in. There was never any head hanging. And being with Jeff the past couple of years, I just kept telling our guys, look, we're going to get back in the game, right? We're going to get the ball. We're going to go down. We're going to score. Now, I was hopeful we'd get more of a touchdown instead of a field goal, because the concerning thing was after that first drive, if you look up, half the quarter was gone. But we just kept preaching, hey, let's just go out and get the next stop. Get one stop, go out, just go get another stop. Our guys, you weren't going to go get back in the game in one series. It was going to be a progression of things. And to their credit, they did it. One stop on top of another, on top of another. We were able to force a missed field goal. Obviously, the sack by Dez and the fumble recovery by Cam was huge. Our guys just stayed the course, kept fighting, kept battling, and did a great job.
Hey, Coach. Murray State had a lot of different guys get snaps in week one. It seems like DJ Williams is their guy. He's got some dual threat capability to him. What do you see out of a guy like that, and what do you want to see out of your guys to be able to stop a guy from getting out of the pocket?
Well, certainly he's a dual threat guy and very talented. I know he got hurt a year ago against Texas Tech. They did not use him a lot as a runner, but you can never assume anything. Again, they won pretty handily the other night against Presbyterian, so they played a clean game. They ran the ball well, a lot of different guys. I think their offensive line is much improved. They're very big. They've got a stable of running backs, and obviously the quarterback did a great job finding multiple receivers. So I know this. The one thing I've told my guys, when Murray State comes in here on Thursday night, every one of those players would rather be in your shoes, all right, playing on the big stage. All those guys wanted to be Division I players and felt like they should have been, and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder with something to prove. So to me, it's all about us and how we go about things. I always preach you're only guaranteed 12 opportunities, all right? We're down to 11 now, so don't waste one on Thursday night. You can never assume anything in this game. A lot of upsets last week. You don't have to look far. Texas State goes into Baylor and beats them. Not just beat them, but beat them handily. So block out all the noise. It's about us and get things corrected. I think the win for us last Friday is one to build on, and I would expect our guys to come out with a lot of fire. But certainly a ton of respect for Murray State. Again, I think it's an offense that put up almost 500 yards of offense, and you don't just do that by accident when you go out there. I thought they played a very, very clean game the other night, and we need to come out ready to roll.
Mark, obviously there's practice and there's games you would want them to be similar, but for those guys to get on the field and get to play that, was there, I guess, a moment of like kind of clicking for them where they saw, what you guys were wanting to do, and then I guess how encouraging is that to still have those mistakes but still come out with full range?
I thought it was very encouraging. I think anytime you have a new staff and a new philosophy and just speaking for us on defense, a whole new system, there's got to be some faith. And so when you give up 28 points in a quarter, there's got to be a little bit in the back of your mind, like, what's going on? Why is this happening? Right? Is it the system? Is it? But again, to those guys' credit, they kept the faith. They never wavered. I thought the sideline was awesome. The locker room at halftime was awesome. We were able to make adjustments in all of our phases. And so that's, to me, is the most encouraging thing, was the way that we were able to hang in there and obviously take a lot of blows. make a lot of mistakes in the second quarter, but then make adjustments at halftime and come out and execute those adjustments. It's one thing to talk about them and make them at halftime, but it's another thing to go out and again, understand you're not going to go out in one series and get back in the game. You've got to have enough faith to realize we got to put stop upon stop upon stop on defense and have faith that that offense is going to go out there, and our guys credit they bought into that. So to me, I think that's just a huge step moving forward. We told our guys from day one, no matter what happens, we're always going to be in position to win games just by how Coach Braun operates, and we've been in some of those wild games before as a staff, and I think last Friday goes a long way to our players buying into that.
All right, Coach.